What's going on, everybody? We are now live. We have a long but exciting podcast show. Today, we're going to be opening up a Top Shot pack. We're going to be talking about what happened in the couch leagues, lots of crazy stories, twists and turns, and some of us have some burns. We're going to talk about that, some wounded moments for us and some good moments. Talking Antonio Brown. And of course, we're not going to do a fantasy football awards show because every year I get more and more. I just feel like they're more and more dumb every year to the point where I didn't want to do it at all. But we have something like a show, like a reflect back on the year. So we're going to be talking about the year, like which players did good, which players did bad, and then Drew and Sue Shane will have a segment for 2022 wide receiver class. Should be very good. RB class was great. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. So we're going to be doing the wide receiver class on this video, and we're going to keep it going. Next up is what? Tight end?
Tight ends, quarterbacks?
Absolutely.
Tight end, you think? Okay.
Something like that. We can figure it out.
All right. Do you know what a top shot moment is, Sushane?
I have no idea what a top
He's
shot
going to find out
Let me
tonight.
explain to you in about two sentences. Yeah. So there's a sports card, right? Just every baseball, basketball, football. So this is essentially a digital sports card. And I was just like how I talked about an SBS came to fruition, like NFT fantasy football. On the last podcast you were here. And I was just talking to Mike about like I hate sports cards. Like I just don't like them. I feel like they're silly. Like I don't hate that other people can collect them, that's fine. Like they're just not for me. Like it can get bent. I have to trust the company. If they say they printed like 99 of these Josh Allens, I have to trust the company that they did it. Not that they're lying, but I have to trust that company. I have to trust PSA to grade them for me. I have to not get them stolen. Like how much can you flex that before you just get?
Hey, come on over and see my cards.
Yeah, before you get slapped, it's just keep it family friendly.
Put them on your bike spokes.
Before you get slapped in the face and your face falls off, right? Like someone's going, like if you have a Michael Jordan rookie card, like your head's gone. Like if you flex that. But NFTs you can flex. So this is technically NFT. It's just a sports card that's digital. That's all it is. But because it uses the blockchain technology, like there's no duplicating it. You can't physically damage it, obviously. You don't have to trust the company. If they say they minted 99 of them, it's public led. They minted 99 of them. So Drew convinced me to open it. I have a pretty big, pack ripping, and I don't know. I'm already like trying, I'm like shaking because I'm just nervous. I can't believe I waited this many hours to open it. So just basically so you guys know, if it's a bad serial number, it's a good chance I'll lose a ton of money. This was a risque move. If it's a great serial number, I'm going to try to contain myself for the rest of the podcast and be like, hey, I finally did it. So we're going to do that.
It's going to be good, hopefully.
Let's hope.
Oh, I'm ready to go, boys. All right.
Let's hope. Since we got this up, we're going to take this off. But shout out to all the Patreons. And we're going to be we're going to talk about the Patreon League and all that. So thank you guys so much. Look at all those names. Like we didn't even know how to use Patreon. We had like 0 to 1 to 5 Patreons like throughout like the first several years. And then we kind of figured it out. We made this tournament and everyone's having fun. And I got a lot of cool stories. And thanks for tuning in the chat. I will be asking the live chat to participate as well. So here we go. I'm going to exit this screen. So can you cancel that out, Drew?
You want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, stop sharing your screen and then I'll share my screen. I think I could have just done it actually. All right. So I am going to share.
This is insanely fun to see live.
Well, for some people are like, this is whack, but there's a different world out there, right? Like,
no, this is exciting for me at least.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. It's a different world, like, and this is like, one of my passions. It is what it is, and they started one for football too, so like, I'm already pumped. I'm in the beta. I pulled the Cooper Cup, So like I'm a rare Cooper
Javonte.
Kupp moment, rookie Javonte. That was a common, but
Ooh,
I mean still
nice.
above average. I mean people are pulling punters and stuff. So the Steelers punter,
they're getting long snappers.
Someone pulled the Steelers punter and they're like, "What do I do with this? Like, why did somebody make this?" So I'm like, I pulled 2 Javontes and a rare Cooper Kupp. Like I'm happy. So Sushane, this is just one moment. It's out of 255. It's some guy named LaMelo. And he's pretty hot.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's pretty good. Nice.
I was just like, I'm not going to spend any money or nothing. And then yesterday there was an opportunity to complete this challenge and just
look at that collector score.
I spent all my money and I completed this challenge.
Look how many other challenges you have. Jeez,
those are sets. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Super
bro.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I gotta see this more in depth.
I have a great collection, but it's it's
top notch.
You know, the like how this is how I always do it, right? Because I'm so experienced. And
what if you pulled a Pat McAfee? Would that be a good pull?
I mean, that sounds extremely
Honestly,
sexy.
you know, hey, with that Barstool deal he signed.
That sounds steamy hot. I mean, if I pulled a McAfee, especially, hey, it's all about the mint count. So if it's a rare or legendary McAfee, like we would like. I mean, that's pretty much a jackpot. Yeah, that's a jackpot. I mean, it's Pat McAfee. Like, it's a legend. Like, he's an underdog and a mainstream legend at the same time. That's hard. That's hard to like find both, right? All right, so we're gonna start off with this one. This is a basic pack that I got, so we'll open it, and now you're gonna understand how this is. Like, Sushane, look, even if you don't get on this or that, like, you pretty much you're going to be forced to get on and the NFL one. Eventually, I mean, it's just so hot. I don't know how you could resist. Like, at least to taste it.
Oh, I was just looking at him like it's
a donation.
Looks very interesting.
And this is not a question. He's just making a comment. He wants to say, Bob, I won the championship with last minute Najee Harris TD Monday Night Football. Thanks, Couch, for the help this year.
Yeah, a lot of people won the ship, and unfortunately, they won't be commenting much because they ran away from me, but some people did lose the ship off that last touchdown, and I'm a huge Najee Harris fan. It's okay that I don't have him in most of my leagues. I did draft him in 2, and you know I've always been pushing him. I loved him. Turns out Jamar Chase may have even been better though, so that's great. That's what's crazy. Awesome, so that was nuts. All right, so we're gonna open it. So you're gonna get and this is the same company, Susha. So it's called Dapper. So they just opened up an NFL one. People are kind of losing it over the NFL.
It's going wild.
Yeah. Sure. All right, and that one's private. That one's still in testing. Of course, you know I get first invite. Not to boast.
Look at that collector score.
But also to boast.
Yeah,
not to flex. All right, not to flex, but to flex. Yeah. All right, here we go. So let's just open this base one.
He can get some good stuff with these base ones, though.
Well, no, I open up a lot of crap. I sometimes don't show them. I don't want to waste your time, but yeah, no, you get a lot of strikeouts. But that's how you do it. Like you need 10 of these, and then you may hit. All right, so with the color below, will tell you if it's rare or common or legendary. So these are all common. They have to be. Okay, so this is a bad one. Okay, TJ McConnell. Okay, it's a cheap one.
I actually have that one. It's like $2.
Everyone has that. Giannis, that's a good one.
It's like a $4, $5 one, probably.
This one's a 5. This one's 5. This is a good above average. Okay.
So you almost paid for the pack. So let's just tell them it's a $9 pack, right, Brain?
Well, retail.
I mean,
I didn't pay $9 for it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a $9. It's worth. They go around $14 now. All right, and then last one, 32,000 Clippers. Okay, this one's actually a cool one because he's in a lot of challenges. All right, so this was whatever. All right,
not bad. It's got a
Giannis one wasn't that great, or what's going on there?
Well, he's a special case because they minted too many of them. So he has like 50 moments, and it's out of 40,000. So it's better, but this is it. All right, this is the moment of truth. So this is out of 255. It's sick.
You should text Mike. Is Mike watching?
Text him to hop on if he's able to. So Sushane, so just so you know, good cereals are 255. That's called the perfect score because you have the very last one. So 253, like around there would be like the worst possible pull. Number 1, of course, is great. Number 2 is his jersey number. That's even better.
Yeah, even better.
Okay.
So usually the lower the better. And a 22 is a great one because it's like jersey number. 222 is not bad. And number 69 is not bad. I'm just, I don't know. Oh man, I'm so nervous. You know what?
He didn't respond yet, so
I'm just gonna do. It is what it is. I know the risk. I've been disappointed before, and disappointments have turned into good things. All right, let's do it. Oh God. Oh my God. Can you imagine how nervous I am? And I did not look. This is going for 3,000 right now. Lowest ask.
Wow.
So
3,000 lowest.
Holy.
That's what I.
Zeros really matter here.
That's basically what I paid though to complete the challenge. So 3,000.
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember you said that
because I had most of the moments, but I had to buy one last one. All right, here we go. Oh, it's terrible. No. Ah, crap.
So this is like a $3,000 one.
Yes. Well,
he's logging off. No,
it is what
you guys take care of the rest of the show.
Now let's see how much it's going for.
Yeah, let's check it out.
That's what counts. That's what counts.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be that much. It is what it is. It's a risk. You don't know what you're going to get. So it's going for 3,200, which is still, it's still great. It's a sick moment.
Can you see what the other ones are going for? Like if anybody's selling the 2, for example, or I don't know, a 69.
Yeah. So this is the lowest ask. So that means this is the like if you wanted to buy the absolute cheapest one, you'd have to spend 3,200. Let me see if anybody. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you can see they're going for like 3K. Yeah, some 4K.
Got it.
It doesn't really matter what people ask. So you could do I do like 69,420 all the time, but no one's buying that. So yeah, I mean this is what it's worth. Like you can this is a good serious way to actually see realistic. It's worth like 3,200 just to be conservative, which is great. I mean it could have by the time I look now could have been less, but enough of this. I pulled a bad cereal. But
so Mike, he didn't pull the one he wanted, obviously. He'd be like jumping through the screen right now if he did.
17. What did I pull? 172.
Yeah, you did. 172.
It's not the worst.
Not the best though, but still.
It's not the worst, but yeah, definitely not a good one. Yeah, this is what I pulled. Hey, it is what it is. I knew what I was getting into. It's a dope moment though. I like it.
No, it is. Are you going to be team hold on this? Or are you going to be team
goodbye? I'm going to hold as far as at least now. So
it's over, Mike. We pulled it.
Yeah.
172.
All right. Let's move. All right. We're done with the Top Shot segment. But yeah, you guys if you don't like basketball and you like NFL, you guys probably going to have to hop on the NFL all day once they open that up to the public.
Yeah, it's definitely something I gotta get into for sure.
Yeah, it's sick. And you could get what's cool about it is it makes a perfect gift. I gifted these guys a Top Shot moment for Christmas. I don't like physical stuff. I don't like snail mail. It's gross. Give me a digital product. That's what I'm about. I don't have to leave my house. It's just good. It's great. That's what I love. Yeah. All right, so we're going to run through this, guys. It's going to be a great show. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight, our sponsor. Also, shout out to our other partners, Trophy Smack and Drafters. And, man, if you guys want a special promo code for Trophy Smack, they do have the best trophies. Just hit me up. Not going to do an ad read or anything for that. Just hit me up. I'll give you the promo code and I'll let you know. Just shoot me a DM. My DMs have slowed down now since the season's over. All right, so big shout out to J-Man 300. Jordan could not repeat from last year. Finished just outside the money at number 4, but J-Man just totally dominated. He won the Patreon League 96 team tournament, his first time entering. He won, and I want to give a shout out to all the other winners. So go down below. So we got J-Man 300 with the win for the Patreon League. Andrew won the Guillotine League, and that's the one. That was a great one. Yeah, right here. Forgot to post this. Yeah, so congrats to Andrew. Won the Guillotine League. Last man standing. I did not win. I got out about like half. I lasted like halfway. Soon as my team was all healthy, I got chopped. It didn't make any sense. I didn't deserve it. I thought every week I almost got chopped every single week. And I'm like, I'm healthy now. I got Dak back. Like, I'm good.
Well, Sully's actually looks like it's believable. Like his body.
Yeah.
The guy smoking the cigarette. I mean, that's like perfect.
He was the first one to get chopped.
Shout out Sully.
He got chopped.
Oh, he was the first one to get chopped.
Yeah, first one to get chopped. And
when did Dak get chopped? When did Dak get chopped?
I don't know. He lasted long. He went towards the end.
This body and this head looks really freaky.
I don't know what that is. I figured that's from Walking Dead. I don't know if that's the actual guy's actual photo. Sorry, but it looks like a Walking Dead actor, like Offset. Like, all right, let's go down. Let's go. We got to keep it moving.
Sorry, just keep it making comments on
so
that.
J-Man won the Patreon League. Ray, newcomer to the Couch League, just absolutely dominated. Shout out to him. Ben won the Auction League. Andrew, of course, Guillotine League. Shout out to Bob and Cash for winning the Duos League. That was a crazy league that worked. What an idea that came to fruition. So this was a 16-team league, guys, with 32 people in it. Everyone had to team up and partner up with somebody. And you guys had to figure it out. Who's drafting, who's making the moves. And I'm like, no one complained to me because that's up to you guys. And I got a couple complaints and I was like, I don't care. I want you to lose. I want you guys to fight. Like, this is how it is. So it was an awesome idea and a great way to get 32 people in a like somewhat normal league. Like 16 teams, a normal league. 32 team is not a normal league. You don't like 32 teams are way too crazy. And special shout out to M22. All right. So last year, we had an auction draft for a good amount of money. It was a money league. I forgot it was $50 or $100. And this dude, instead of bidding $13 on James Conner, bid $113 on James Conner. And I got chewed. I mean, you would think I was about to get canceled for this. I've never been so chewed out in my life.
Because like picks went on and on, right? It was like 3 picks later.
People just really don't know how hard it is to draft and live stream. And then on top of that, with all my, I don't know what to call them, ailments, disabilities, whatever. I'm dyslexic. I got OCD, ADHD. I'm live streaming doing an auction draft. I can't survive an auction draft. I can't even do an auction draft. So I'm live streaming, reading comments, and doing an auction draft. So I didn't see this happen, like, obviously. I noticed a while later. That's him. He's right there. Forgot a ninja. Yep, that's him. So everyone's like, people are saying that you should have paused it. You're a terrible commish. I'm unsubscribing. Some dude called me evil. Like, it was crazy. I was like, first of all, I don't see a pause button. I never used like, people beg me to do an auction draft. This is why one reason I'm doing it is because there's a long list of people do auction content, do auction drafts. They sometimes are more mean. Like, what are you, some kind of novice noob? You're supposed to be an expert. Do an auction draft. So I finally do one. And that year we had it on Yahoo, my first year doing it there. I don't know how to use the platform that expertly. I still don't know. Most people told me there's no pause. Some people told me there's whatever. I didn't pause it, and I couldn't, even if I wanted to, even if I could, I couldn't because there's been picks after. Josh Jacobs went for like $2 right after. I'm exaggerating, but like he went for super cheap because everyone was like losing their mind. There's this whole
in the comment section. Yeah, they weren't paying attention to the auction.
You know, one guy who didn't complain and was cool with it was this guy. The guy who actually took James Conner for 100. Yes, this guy here forgot a ninja. The guy who actually bid $100 more, which is like how all your money basically. You start out with 200. Is the only guy who didn't complain or say anything. He just said, "I'm dumb. I pushed the 1, and I stumbled and pushed the 1 and X. This is not my child. I'm not your father. I'm not responsible for you crossing the street. I'm trying to I'm running at you I'm trying to just do why is it my fault? Like I'm just doing what you guys want me to do, auction draft." And so 4 people unsubscribed, people saying stuff. This guy kept it cool. I drafted Mike. I had a great year last year. I drafted Mike Thomas though for a steal, and this guy ended up finishing better than me. And he just rolled with 113. So 113 became a couch meme. He changed his name to 113 on Discord.
That's great. He just owned it.
And he's M22. So that's title. Love it. Yeah. Love it. And now he won the Captain's League. And the Captain's League is an NFL realistic league, and scoring is realistic. So first down, we get points for first downs, we get points for other stuff. It's really cool, interesting league where QBs get a huge boost. Running backs don't matter as much. And to make it more realistic, we're like, well, if you lose the Super Bowl in real NFL, that's, one of the worst things ever. So we're like, we're not paying second place. So it was winner take all.
Wow, that's great.
I sent him his money. I sent him his prize, and he sent me back 10% right away. And I was just shocked. So this is the story of 113. The legend of 113 keeps continuing.
Just grows.
He's like, "Thank you so much for running this league. Here's 10% of the prize." I was like, dude, I was not expecting. No one does that. No one hits you back up with 10% back. Like I'm collecting rewards on a credit card or something.
Commission fees.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't take any rake, any commission fees on any of my leagues, and that would be the going rate, would have been 10%. So that's awesome that somebody willingly gave that to me, and that meant a lot. And that's why I wanted to tell this guy's whole story. Again, it's kind of hard to remember who this is because he's got M22, forgot a Ninja 113, but we pieced it to everything needs to be 113.
All the same guy.
He says more people should do it. It's a lot of work running it, and that's true. I know firsthand. Running leagues ain't easy.
Yeah.
Definitely. But this year leagues have ran extremely smooth overall. So I think people just know now, just don't mess with me. You figure I've been a commish for so many years. Oh my God, I've never seen that. You're really not. I'm not saying I'm the best or anything. I'm just saying
you've lived a lot.
You got to have a master plan and really think about it and be smart to have a shot at fooling me. Your dumb tricks that you think 2 seconds about. I see it coming, dog. I'm not going to get fooled. Oh, you dropped all your players. I know how to put them back on sleeper now.
You've lived a long fantasy life, my friend.
I've seen it all.
A very full fantasy life.
Ooh, you made a trade so your buddy can win and you could split the winnings. Oh, I've never seen that before.
The colluders.
All right, moving on. All right, what do we?
Do you even want to talk about this?
Depressing.
Back to bad news.
Depressing. So I want to give you update. I faced off with Heath Cummings in the Super Bowl in the Pace League, big celebrity league with Darren Waller, T-Pain, Adam Rank, Marcus Grant, Danny Woodhead, a bunch of other people, and he almost lapped me. That means that he almost scored twice as many fantasy points as me and just demolished me at every position. It sucked. Shout out to Heath Cummings, but he did follow me on Twitter. That's good. Nice. He knows I exist.
That's a win.
That's a tiny victory. So I had a horrible fantasy season, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. So the question is going to be, so just think about it. What mistakes did you make this year? And or what did you learn from them? Chat also, same question. What mistakes did you make this year? And or what did you learn this year? Or what did you learn from those mistakes? And so one thing that I think I'm going to say is the first round kind of ruined me a lot, even though I crushed it on, like, I had Cooper Kupp in some leagues. You know, it was a lot of unlucky situations. But the first round ruined me. You got to nail the first round. That's where you can lose. And don't underestimate players on bad teams, like the Washington football team, as an example. Don't underestimate how bad a franchise can just spoil everything, right? Because if you have a spoiled slice of bread, right? You got to throw away that whole loaf. Just because there's
sure?
Yeah, if there's mold. Yeah, Drew. Yeah, if there's mold. Hey. If there's mold on one slice,
the other side.
I mean, if you're starving and you have to, you do it. If
you're back in college,
if you don't want to eat microscopic mold, then you don't do it and you throw it away. That means the whole thing.
Here was our first answer, by the way.
That
drafting rugs. B-Dub says his mistake was drafting rugs. For
that guy is a Raider, so kind of sticks to my same thing. But look, on a positive note, I did crush it in DFS. I did spend all my winnings basically on LaMelo, which is cool. It is what it is. But I crushed it on DraftKings, and then the next week I did crush it on Drafters. So just go down.
Sorry, yeah, I was just going through a comment.
To do the next. Yeah, so I did win. You know, I had Jamar Chase last week.
Yeah,
so.
That's insane. 55.
At least it's good that I crushed it on DFS, and that really eased the pain of me losing every single league. Like it was just a rough season. It was just bad. I talked about it before, so I won't go too much into it. But yeah, what do you guys think? What mistake did you make? What did you learn? We'll go to the chat and then we'll see what Drew and Sushane have to say.
Okay, so for the chat, Kale says drafted too many injury-prone players. That was an answer we got. Our friend Forgotten Ninja said he drafted C-Mac in all of his leagues.
Ooh. But how'd you win? How'd you win then? Because even his handcuff didn't do that well.
Yeah, Chuba wasn't doing so hot, was he?
He's not like Madison. Great. Yeah, Madison does great when Dalvin.
Amar didn't necessarily give us an exact thing, but he said nobody's had a worse season than him. He drafted a flawless redraft team and it fell apart in the playoffs. I mean, that does happen.
That does happen every year to somebody. Yeah, it sucks.
I think I took Dak too high, honestly, in our draft party league, and I'm just looking at Ray's team, and the guy who won the league took Hurts with his like 16th round pick. I think it was like it was so.
It wasn't 16, but it was late.
I could look it up. I mean,
don't look. It's 12. Just say 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 11.
I just
12,
feel like I just put too much trust into Dak basically having video game numbers, but he had video game numbers like every 3 games, and then he had a couple stinkers in there as well. So I'd say that was my biggest mistake of the season.
He was a bust. Well, I was looking. That's what I was doing today. Yeah, he was a bust. Yeah, I mean, it was bad.
What do you think, Sushane? What do you point to for one of yours?
For me, I think I made 2 pretty glaring mistakes here. One was there was this trendy RB0 light kind of strategy going on before the season
that we covered.
I invested a little too heavily in that. That's one. And then number 2, I think I just got a little too excited about these 2021 rookie class a little bit. Elijah Moore did do well, but not for the whole season, not for a redraft type of scenario.
Man, that stands with the franchise thing maybe
as well too.
He was on the Jets. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there is a theme here.
Terrace Marshall with Donald is just like that's basically who knows. Yeah, it could be a combination of those 2 things, I think. But those were my mistakes, and it punished me pretty bad.
Dak was on a really good team
too, but I mean that's injuries happen, honestly. You know,
you got the injury bug hard in the draft party league, but
you got a couple.
That's another story.
Hey, it happens. You know, it happens. What are you gonna do?
Do you want to make a comment,
Brain, draft well,
should I go to some comments?
No, we're going to the next. Unless you see any, just bring them up as we go. But go on to the next slide. Sure.
Couch Captain Chris Mo says he learned he should probably, what does that say? Draft wide receivers earlier more than he does. I mean, I think for some of us, We think that we're going to get like wide receiver sleepers later in the draft. Like we just, oh yeah, we'll get him. There's a couple guys left. I see it, and you look at it down the list and maybe you have like wide receiver 2 as one of the sleepers and you're like, ugh, at the end of the draft thinking maybe I could have invested a little more heavily in that. I see that as a good point. Forgotten Ninja does say that he had C-Mac in the Captain's League and won. He traded Mixon, Heineke for C-Mac mid-year. So actually acquired him in that league, it sounds like.
Sometimes people get that mistake and they write it wrong. If you traded Mixon and Heineke for C, that sounds, I don't know, that sounds bad.
Yeah, for a single quarterback league, that'd be terrible, right?
Captain's League is super flex, I think.
Oh, okay. So maybe that makes sense then.
Okay, so Forgotten Ninja, did you acquire CMC or trade him away? Let us know. So there's a lot of Antonio Brown news coming out, guys, and we're not going to get into it. Just hop on Twitter. It's an endless saga of this and that. Like there's a ton of stuff going down. So like we're not going to, I just got one question for you guys because I turned on the TV and I was appalled by what I heard. Like I just didn't think that their take would be like this because I just totally have a different take. Do you guys think Antonio Brown will get picked up this year? And the TV said something that I didn't expect. NFL Network, to be exact.
They said he would. You're saying?
I'm asking you guys. Then I will reveal.
I personally don't think so.
Did you take him off? What the heck happened to Sushi?
Well, no, yeah, I would think, man, I don't know. It's tough. He's had a lot of incidences. There's a lot of baggage on him now. I don't know. I would stay away from him.
I don't see a team picking him up realistically, but people on the network were saying like, oh, they could, Green Bay or something could pick him up. I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Like, there's just no way I would pick this dude up. Like, and I'm Antonio Brown's one of his biggest fans. I draft him in a lot of leagues. I've told people to draft him. Like, I think he's a great talent. Like, what is like? I mean, it's just after a certain point, like, and there's a lot of people defending Antonio Brown, and I'm not doing that because what people never say when they're defending him is like the way he walked off. So like, let's say Antonio Brown's totally in the right. Just the way he walked off alone mixed with his record. I mean, like I'm talking about a record, like his past, whatchamacallit, like ledger. When you list out all his boo-boos.
Yeah, like when you're a criminal and you have a track record.
Yeah, that's what I was not trying to say, Drew. To make him look like a criminal. But yes, his track record. That's what I want to say.
Track record, basically.
Go back, delete where you said criminal because it sounds horrible. Yeah. So his track record and just how he walked off. There's just no, like, that's the thing. Like, this stuff happens. Okay, if it happens, like, he didn't have to, like, he threw his stuff. Like, it was too much. I think he's done. Yeah, that's another thing. Yes, Dave. He's supposedly going to have ankle surgery. And they actually covered that on NFL Network. Like, they knew about that too. And they're still like, there's a good shot a team could pick him up. I'm like, what? Like, they're just wild. No matter what side of the story you're on. Like, if you're like 100% AB stan, then you're like, okay, his ankle's done. Even though he was doing jumping jacks and walking away just fine. His ankle's done. It's over. Well, you can't. I mean, why would you pick him up now anyway? And if you're way against AB, you're like, he's a clown, like whatever, you hate him, like you can't, then, I mean, you just really want to stay away from him. And you would think any team in their right mind would want to stay away from him. So that's what I think with them. So I don't think any team should or will pick him up. Why is Sushane gone again?
I don't know. I think it might be an internet connection thing.
Possibly. Tell him, text him to turn off his devices from Wi-Fi except his computer and to hop back on, or just try on his phone. And
you got it.
We'll do the ad read right now. What do you guys think though with AB? I don't know if I asked that. I wanted the chat to chime in. Do you guys think a team will realistically pick up Antonio Brown or not? Oh, he's like, can you hear me? No, we can't. All right, guys, let's go on to the ad read.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm
Well,
just
just
messaging him real quick.
scroll down though. Scroll down really quick. Oh no! Oh, we're not doing the ad. We're doing this. There we go. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. We want to do a year in review. So Sushane's back on.
Sorry about that. There's a little snowstorm behind me, and my internet just completely.
Oh
crashed.
my god!
So we're good. We're good now.
We're in California. It's like normal weather here right now.
Yeah, you might hear a
in
car
Chicago,
honking.
man.
That's
12
about
degrees
it.
out here.
Dang.
Oof.
Yeah, so everyone's in agreement with me. They're like, no, like I don't.
It's just cancer to your locker room, I would think at this point. He's
just-
just been so many places and just like quit on his team.
It's like,
You
what?
can't do
Like,
that.
why would you? Yeah, like, why would you?
Just quit on your teammates, though. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
it's
literally
like-
just shown that he doesn't care about anybody else but
All
himself.
about himself, basically. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even trying to get into all of it, but it's like whichever side of the story, because there's more stuff coming out. There's definitely 2, 3, 4 sides of the story actually. So there's a lot going on, and regardless of what side you're on, it's like I feel like it's a no. Like I said, like if Antonio Brown's 100% right, which I don't see how he could possibly be 100% right. Like that means that he needs to have ankle surgery right now. And
Right.
so that's probably it probably means you can't pick him up. He should be having ankle surgery right now.
Well, B Dubs is right. He went to the Nets game and was sitting courtside. The day
Yeah, I know.
afterwards,
I am
so-
not on Antonio Brown's side. I'm
Come
just
on.
playing devil's advocate. I just want to make that clear. I'm not on AB's side. I just didn't feel like going all into it because it's a huge, guys. This is a huge story with several parts and several things coming out and several rumors and several text messages. So I just wanted to cover that part. Like, do you guys think he would get picked up? Because other than that, just off field. I mean, he's not even in the NFL right now, or he's going to clear. Technically, he's going to clear waivers and then become a
Week
free
18.
agent. We'll see. All right, so instead of doing a award show, I just wanted to go back and look at where we drafted players and how they finish. And for each position, I picked one guy. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, quite frankly, I was just getting annoyed by fantasy awards and award shows. And I just want to do it like this. Look at more of less opinion. It's still my opinion in here, but more of just stats. Where were they drafted? Where did they end up? And also putting in the average points, just not to skew, because a lot of people, they go like, they just give you the total or the average, either or. I want to give both, so we know.
That was Dak's comment, by the way. He was just referencing Antonio Brown taking his shirt off as he's leaving MetLife Stadium.
That sounds bad. That means that it's bad, but it's also funny because I feel like he hated the Bucks and he wanted to leave. But
what's up, Dak?
This podcast should make you want to leave your shirt on and get out there.
Well, if you're Sushane, you got to put a jacket on. It's cold where he's at.
Put
cold
your
out
jacket
here.
on.
Jacket, hat, and everything.
No, that's crazy, dude. All right,
Yeah,
so
we're not used to that.
Even though he let us down the game against the Saints, I forgot what week that was. Was it week 14, 15, something like that?
Who we're talking about?
Tom Brady against the Saints. He put up a dud. Other than that, he's been great. He was going QB 9 off the boards in redraft, and sometimes I see him go QB 11. A lot of times, like Stafford would go ahead of him. Some people occasionally will draft Tannehill ahead of Tom Brady, and so Tom Brady went QB 9. He finished QB 3. Total points and also average. So that's a huge boost. So I think he was one of the huge steals for quarterbacks. And Russell Wilson, like a lot of this is my opinion too, but I think people would have to agree. He was drafted QB 7, sometimes 6, sometimes 8, and then he finished QB 19. And even if we just look at the average, he finished QB 13. That's pretty bad. And what I think really hurts with drafting Russell Wilson is that you think you hit that gold mine that first week, Lockett owners, Wilson owners, and then you're like, I can't even start this guy. Because if you start Russell Wilson, that was a quick way to lose your season. So Russell Wilson's one of the worst. Yeah, it was terrible, and it was really fool's gold for sure.
And the injury didn't help his case at all.
Well, yeah, that's really what totally derailed it. It was bad, and then it was like
then they gave him
drop this guy. Yeah, like it would be better if you drop this guy. Dak and Lamar I thought about putting him on here too, but I think Russell Wilson just was more of an epic example to me. And for running back, I got Jonathan Taylor. He went RB10, was drafted like the last pick of the first round, finished RB1. And I guess the big thing here would be that Derrick Henry still has a higher average than Jonathan Taylor. So theoretically, if Henry kept playing, he would have outscored Jonathan Taylor. So Henry was just nasty. And Christian McCaffrey, I guess it's an epic example because he's the number one guy. Finished RB37. His points per game was very good, though. But I feel like still just a tad lower than you would want. Maybe not. But 18.2 fantasy points per game, which is good enough for RB6 if we're going off average. The total points, CMC finished RB37.
Kale wants to add that James Conner was a W as well. Not to the same degree as Jonathan Taylor, but I have to agree with him there.
If you're looking at deep draft picks, yes. And I think that would be a way more obvious pick if he didn't get hurt. Mm-hmm. But James Conner was like people weren't considering and putting him on his team. And he was drafted in the double-digit rounds and ended up being a star for fantasy. So definitely James Conner is a great I could easily put him over Jonathan Taylor, but I'm going with the most obvious choices, I think. And James Conner was healthy. I think he definitely deserved to be here over Jonathan Taylor. A lot of James Conner fans here, but he did ball out. And then instead of Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp was going in round 4, I'm going with Debo Samuel, drafted wide receiver 36 and finished wide receiver 3. And also wide receiver 3 if you're going by just average. So that's a really strong finish for a guy drafted that late. And wide receiver, unfortunately, the bad one, it would be Calvin Ridley, drafted wide receiver 5, finished wide receiver 95. And even if you're going off average, so just the games he did play was still fairly disappointing, wide receiver 27. So, I mean, wish the best for him. The Falcons were a pretty bad team, but they played hard, so I give it to them. And maybe, people are saying, like, is he going to go to a new team next year? Maybe the Eagles. That'd be crazy. Alabama
that
reunion.
Would be a wild situation.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a tough team reunion. To beat. Yeah, that would be a tough team to beat.
For sure.
Ridley and Devonta Smith on the same team with Goddard and Jalen Hurts.
It Hurts is the quarterback.
Jalen Hurts too. Yeah.
So you got AJ Brown. Sorry. Jeez Louise. AJ Brown and Julio are bad investments was a comment by Chris. And then Forgotten Ninja, our friend, says A-Rob should be the receiver for sure. The dude didn't have a huge injury besides hamstring and completely sucked. It's got a point.
I guess these are great. I think
Robinson is a good one.
I think AJ Brown you can't put on this level. He was bust, but he's just not on the level of Julio and Allen Robinson. So those two are way bigger. The thing that I like about Allen Robinson, I drafted him in one league. I also dropped him in that league. Calvin Ridley, I held on to for no reason. So that, Allen Robinson.
That's a good perspective.
There was definitely a certain point where everyone, I think, knew to drop Allen Robinson. He's like wide receiver 79. Let's drop this dude.
Mitchell definitely is correct. This is our friend Mitchell here. He says drafting Debo in the 6th round of the Couch League was definitely his best decision. Debo carried his team all season. It seemed like
he reached
for Brady
for
too.
Honestly, Brady too. 6th round seems kind of early for his.
Yeah, he reached for him. I got Debo in Superflex in round 11. So,
oh man, that's nuts.
He was going round 8. Round 8. Is like where he's going in normal league. So round 6 was a reach. I would consider him taking him round 7, but he's just falling so much where I didn't have to. And I did get Debo in some of my leagues, and I did like Debo. For tight end, this one, what the heck is that?
I got an emergency missing endangered elderly person in my neighborhood. Sorry.
Oh, I turned those off, so I can just
that scared me. That
I didn't know what I didn't know that.
I didn't know what was going on either.
That could have gotten worse. I'd have been like,
yeah.
Oh, I got it too.
We don't live next to each other, by the way.
Oh God.
That's crazy.
Let's come up. Let me check outside.
I can't even read
Amber
this
Alert.
comment.
Check outside.
What in the Amber Alert? Exactly.
Is Antonio Brown's running around? Some man without a shirt's running around. So I had to look outside to see if Antonio Brown's out
right
there.
now.
Too funny. That is too funny.
Totally forgot. Oh yeah.
Okay. What are we doing?
Back
here?
to business. Yes.
This is a good comment from Valdo. He said Renfro was his favorite receiver he drafted. I think that's what he meant. But Renfro was a steal. I'm not.
I mean, he's not that hot, but one thing I loved about Renfro
Not a
was
major steal,
consistency, which does help you win. Because sometimes Tyreek Hill ended up having you lose a league just because you needed him in a bad matchup, whereas Renfro always gave you 14.1 fantasy points. That's a huge help. That consistency.
That 0.1 made.
It's like it's like a guarantee.
Hey, in our league, the draft party league, couch party league, the guy won Ray by what, a yard or something? What was it? 0.14.
0.14.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was
what is that?
I don't think I've ever seen any.
How many yards is that?
Closer than that.
That's close. Well, it's by quarterback. So by quarterback yards, essentially. I don't know. I can't do that, man. It sounds like someone
because he had Deontay Johnson
ball.
going at the end. He had Deontay Johnson going at the end, and he ended up beating Philippe by the 0.14. So he had to have gotten at least a catch and a yard there. I think that was it.
If Deontay Johnson got a 2-yard run, he would have won. That's crazy. Man. You're not even a reception or a reception for -8 yards. You would have won.
Yeah.
All right, back to
tight ends.
Merry Christmas list. So we got tight ends. This one had to be this one is he's a league winner. He was great. We loved him last year once Lamar and them turned it back on. But Mark Andrews was drafted tight end 5, finished tight end 1 by all the metrics, and was just absolutely amazing. And he's the best tight end. And Travis Kelce, don't remember off the top of my head, but maybe Travis Kelce's averaging 16.6 fantasy points, while Mandrews is averaging 17.8. So that was nuts. And then a tight end that unfortunately I took a couple times, Darren Waller, drafted tight end 2, finished tight end 16. Not terrible on the average, but when you draft a tight end 2, you're really expecting a lot more. So he finished tight end 16 total points. On average points, he finished tight end 5. So that's a pretty big stinker.
So I want to give you the Kelce number. It's 16.6. So you're looking at Mark Andrews 17.8 and Kelce, I think you said 16.
That's huge. That's huge.
Quite a margin.
But it was 16.6. So
yeah, and then Tyler Huntley, what's his name? Is it Tyler Huntley? When he came on, the Ravens backup. Yeah, Mandrews still kept it going and even did better. It didn't matter, and that's why. I mean, it's Mandrews.
He was the ultimate security blanket for Huntley at that point.
He was just a baller. I mean, literally the best tight end in fantasy. All right, and I put a couple defenses and kickers here because you know how I do it. If I miss on everything else, I got a good shot at kickers. You got a good shot at defenses and kickers, baby. So Dallas was a huge surprise. Basically went undrafted, the 20th defense off the board. If anyone's even drafting 20 defenses in their league, they finish as the number 1 defense. Wow. Mainly thanks to the guys that are next on this list, but also I guess honorable mention: Patriots drafted 9, finished 2nd. Only 2 defenses in the double-digit fantasy points average, so that's why I put them there. And defense number 4 off the board, sometimes number 1 in some leagues, was the Washington Poop Ball team.
Oh boy,
they're terrible. Finished 27th.
New team logo February.
Nearly.
You heard about that, right?
Yeah. Maybe they'll use the one I made with the poop.
You submitted that, right?
I don't know.
Did you email your friend?
I don't think oh no, he doesn't.
Yeah, he would be.
No, yeah, he doesn't. The person who's associated with the team, they don't want they're never gonna talk to me ever
Oh
again.
no! After how many videos have we done? 3
Yeah,
at
I mean,
least this season.
he just fueled me to talk about him more, and it just spiraled out of control. And they're not helping their case by what's going on over
No,
there at all.
they're not
Not at
working out
all.
on their side
No.
either.
But anyway, the Cowboys are one reason the Cowboys are so good is because they faced Washington a couple times, and that's one reason why I won $7,000. So thank you, Cowboys defense.
Very nice.
I picked them up in Dynasty a while ago. If you guys do have defense in Dynasty, just so you know, like, don't get caught up on, oh, it's the steel curtain, it's the steel, like, just always think ahead, like, just always roll for it. If you can trade a defense that's like okay for a 3rd round pick, just do it. Just flip it, free up a roster spot. Defenses change all the time.
There will
All
be a
the
better one
time.
next season.
Yeah, you could just find, especially if you have 2 in Dynasty, you just rotate between them. It's more random, and that, like, knowing that makes you look like you know, like, what's gonna happen, but we don't. Like, the Cowboys D, they drafted well. They got Micah Parsons, but I honestly didn't think it would turn around this first
Not
year.
this quick and this good.
I mean, they're great. They're just some teams, like, when they go there, they're feared of them. They're like, oh my God, we're gonna throw a pick 6 against these guys. We're gonna get destroyed. And a lot of teams have. Especially if you're Washington football team. They just got mollywopped. For kickers, one of my sleepers, which honestly I picked up, like, and this is a bigger point here, but Evan McPherson was the 19th kicker off the board, meaning he went undrafted, meaning that most people had no clue who he was before the season, except if you tune into the couch. And he's one of my favorite rookie prospects ever. Finished kicker number 3. Harrison Butker was drafted sometimes the first kicker off the board, most of the time the second kicker off the board. Finished kicker 12. All right, that's a big difference. Just goes back to showing, again, don't reach for kickers.
Guess who Evan McPherson was tied with for fantasy points a game? 2 other guys. You probably heard of one.
Tucker?
Yep. And then Daniel Carlson. So those are the 2 guys he was tied with in the number 3 spot for that statistic, fantasy points per game.
No, he was great. And
Bengals put up points.
Very underrated.
Just goes to show you, man, like, don't reach for a kicker. It's like drafting Harrison Butker could kind of ruin your season. It's bad. And then in one
especially
league,
if you took him before the last round. So like some people do.
Oh no, you have
you
like
that's
the only way you can get Butker. And
that's ugly.
And what happens a lot of times, like in one league, someone dropped Butker and I picked him, and that was the week where he did well. Like right after you drop him, it's like there's no winning here. So just wait on kicker. I got the sleepers. They usually wind up being good. Sleeper picks have been pretty good this year. And yeah, Nick Folk definitely could be one to consider. The only issue I got with Nick Folk is people actually heard his name, and people may have drafted him. But Evan McPherson, a lot of people didn't know who he was and just was totally undrafted. But Nick Folk at kicker 1 definitely could be on this list because he's literally the best kicker this year. And that kind of goes with the Patriots D being so good. The Patriots D is dominating. They're running the ball, and Nick Folk just never missed.
This was your other sleeper, Quinn Norton. Toast remembers that. He says, remember Quinn Norton couch, loved him, and then sucked in the preseason. And then he got replaced by Nick Folk.
Yeah,
we
didn't start him though.
We liked him though. We mentioned him.
No, I had him on a couple teams. No, I had him on a couple teams. I was all over it, but we had to. I mean, like, he didn't play the first game, right?
Yeah, he was.
So thankfully, we had to, like, I think it's practice squad or So
something like that. Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't. No one, like, I didn't go stating to start him the first week at least. So that's good. But yeah, he was replaced by Nick Folk. So Quinn Norton was very good for like 5 seconds. And then it was like, no. But hey, I got Evan McPherson, right? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, you did.
Yeah, that's a good pick. McPherson.
All right, guys. So we're going to talk about the 2022 wide receiver class. These guys are going to take over, and it's going to be great. So stay tuned. But really quick, just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Monkey Knife Fight. Stupid, easy way to play DFS. Is this player going to be good this week? Is this player going to be bad this week? That's really all it is. DFS player props. And this is my pick for this week. We're going to follow the link in the description. We're going to head on over to New Game, go to the early slate of games and pick. Is this early or late? I don't see. I forget. But I clicked on more or less. I think this is the don't the Rams and Niners play late. I forget if I clicked late or early, but it's the more or less contest. I'm going with Matthew Stafford throwing 281 pass yards. That's my projection. So we're going more for Stafford.
Rams play late.
I don't know what. Yeah, I know. But what about the Bills? I don't know. I don't know where'd you click on. I forgot where I clicked. We'll find out. And then for Josh Allen, I'm projecting him to throw 266 pass yards. Keep tabs on the weather. I don't think it's going to be that bad. It is in Buffalo. But I'm going more for Matthew Stafford. I'm going more for Josh Allen. All right. So, yeah, you're going to go to New Game and then go to late games and then the more or less. And right here is actually going to be my best pick or recommendation. Right here at the top, it says 3x you're buying. If you wait for Saturday, that's going to say 3.6x. So if you want to wait before you put this in, you're going to get more of a payout. You're going to get that bonus 24 hours before kickoff. So that's my biggest recommendation, bigger payday. Again, just go to the link below in the description. Use promo code COUCH. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100 and free $5 free play. So you follow the link, use promo code COUCH. You can put that pick in for absolutely free if you're a new user. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight. Good luck on MKF, guys. And I'm going to hand it over to these two here. Sushane and Drew's going to go over the 2022 wide receiver class.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, Brain. I mean, we're going to get started talking about the guys that we think are going to be really ranked, basically 1 through 8. But I want to start off by saying, and I know Sushane has mentioned this a couple of times before, is that the wide receiver class is probably the best position group out of all of them: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end coming out this season. Do you want to mention anything about that, Sushane? I know we've kind of hinted at that before, but how good are these wide receivers in comparison to maybe last year's class? And I know, what was it? Danny brought it up the other day or last week that he likes them compared to the 2020 class.
Okay, so a lot to dissect here, right? First of all, you're absolutely right. The strength of this class in terms of offensive prospects is going to be wide receivers. We're going to talk about 8 of them today, like you mentioned, but I would say there's a good chance maybe 5 to 6 of these guys get drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. So, I mean, that alone should be pretty exciting. You're going to have multiple options with very good draft capital. In terms of, he said the 2020 class, you said, Danny?
Yeah, so Danny really compared them to the 2020 class in terms of the talent. And remember, we were talking about Jefferson. We were talking about DK, I think. We were talking about a couple other guys like that really came on the scene strong in their first season out of that 2020 class that he compared to this class. The 2021 class was pretty good too, with Jamar Chase, and we had Devonta Smith, and we had Jalen Waddle. And we'll kind of use some of those guys as comparison tools for this class.
Wasn't DK
2019?
You're right. He's 2019. My apologies. My apologies on that. But Jefferson led that class. We had Ruggs, I know, was in
Lamb,
that class.
Judy. We had some guys.
Lamb, Judy.
Yeah. What I would say
Claypool.
is
Ruggs.
Yeah. I would say 2020. It's close. I think 2020 has slightly higher top end, like you had CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson. Those guys' upside is a little higher than, let's say, the best receiver in this class. But you also had a lot of depth, right? Because now we're talking about guys like, okay, you have CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson, but then there's a ton of other guys like Pittman, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Henry Ruggs, obviously, but, he was still serviceable for a little bit. Jerry Jeudy as well, right? So in terms of the depth, I mean, I could see 2022 having slightly, I don't want to use more as in quantity, but let's call it more quality of depth.
There you go.
That's a pretty interesting comparison, 2020 versus 2022, I think, if that answers the question.
So, yeah, let's start it off with Garrett Wilson. I mean, he's 6 foot, 192 pounds. He's not the ideal wide receiver size. Had a 1,000-yard season, 70 receptions, 13 total touchdowns. He had 3 huge games towards the end of the season where he had a total of 7 touchdowns in 3 games and 370 yards in the air receiving. What do you think about this guy, and how does he stack up against other guys that we'll talk about here in a moment?
So definitely the size thing you mentioned, he's not the ideal size. That might kind of prevent his true kind of alpha X wide receiver role from ever being reached. I do think he still has a good chance to be that alpha presence on a team. If not, looks like he'll be a slot receiver. That's what a lot of his work is done from. He brings a lot to the table, man. He's a polished receiver, super athletic, very athleticism is kind of through the roof here, right? Good body control, strong hands. So all of that kind of works toward him being successful on 50-50 balls. He can run routes pretty well, good polished, crisp route running, a little smart with the way he does it. Good explosion off the line as well. So those two things are going to help him get open. So you combine those two things, getting open, being able to make those 50-50 balls, and all of a sudden you have this guy who he's just a highlight reel machine, honestly, right? And then one more thing to mention with him is that the speed is not perfect. It's pretty good.
Not elite.
Not great. He's not going to be like a burner, right? And then also the undersized thing, if you could add a little bit more weight, a little more pounds to his frame, would be nice. I know Couch wanted a comparison, so I have.
I was going to just ask, who do you comp him to
so
already in NFL?
I'm thinking 2 guys. I'm probably going to give you 2 guys for most people, or most prospects that we discuss, unless I have a better idea here. But the first one I want to think of is Tyler Lockett, right? So he is a slot receiver, Lockett, but at the same time he's kind of he can stretch the field a little bit. He's good with those contested 50-50 balls. And then the other name I'll give you is, if let's say Garrett Wilson does reach his ultimate potential, I see him as maybe possibly the next Stephon Diggs. So
that's a good one.
That good.
I like the Diggs comparison more.
You like the Diggs comparison? Yeah,
same actually. So we're working on a guide, guys, and we're gonna have it free. That's at least what we plan to. I mean, now that I say that, I don't think we can charge now.
We've already started on it, so we're excited.
Yeah,
to get this going.
And it's gonna be amazing. And I think we're gonna put produce a lot of content. I didn't even tell these guys, but I think like each one we can make into a short little TikTok or something, like each page, nice. So to just be, just flowing, like, because some people don't want to read your 150 page or 100-page draft guide, right?
That's true. Yeah,
some people could watch 100 TikToks on
a row.
The wide receiver just the class, just the dynasty rookie class. And so I think that's a good thing. But I don't know, just me, myself, as I was reading, I think the PFF guide, they're really scared with their pro comparison. And it's not a knock on them. It's just personal preference. Like they say, like, this guy's pro comp is Devin Singletary, and it's like, or Lamar Miller or something. And I'm like, when I give a pro comp, I do want to at least think of like potential. Like you were saying, Tommy Tremble could be George Kittle. It's obviously a low chance of that happening. Like no one's saying that he's the next George Kittle. He's probably going to be George Kittle, but we're saying that if he does reach his potential, he could be something like that, even though it's unlikely. Could be 1% chance, 2% chance that's going to happen, but it does happen. Like these things do happen. Last year, we were pretty convinced DK Metcalf could be the next Calvin Johnson. Not this year, but last year we were like, hey, this guy, he's not there yet, obviously. But last year we're like, this guy could be somewhat similar to Calvin Johnson, or, RIP Demaryius Thomas in his prime. Like he could be. Now probably change our opinion, but you never know. Like it does. These things do happen. And look at Justin Jefferson. Like he's looking like a Hall of Famer right now. Like to me, easily Hall of Famer. He's looking
the next
amazing.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase looking like,
oh yeah.
I mean, he's so explosive. It's like, who you don't like 2 huge plays in a game. Game break. Remember the NBA Street and NFL Game Breaker?
Oh,
Like,
God, that was so much
yeah.
fun.
I mean, he's the game breaker guy. Like, he's just like, oh man, he's in there. Like, he's running a route. Like, that could change the game. So
You brought me back to memories on that one.
I know, right? I was just
that's the only way that I could describe Jamar Chase, game breaker. Like, because it's like the most explosive. It's all big plays. Like, that's what it is, and that helps you win games. And yeah, these things do happen, although unlikely. So I do like that. And yeah, it's okay if we do 2 comparisons though. Like one, hey, this guy runs like Lamar Miller, but he could be like like that's cool.
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
I like that. He screams more Stephon Diggs to me, but obviously Stephon Diggs is an elite player, so it's gonna be hard to be actually like compared to him or be on that same level.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon, you might like this
what he
next
could
guy.
be, So
yeah,
you're gonna go high end, shoot for the moon here. If you want Stephon Diggs, if you like Stephon Diggs, maybe he's this guy, Garrett Wilson, will fit that bill for you.
Yeah, I think Brain might like this next guy a little bit more. I know Sushane, you like him a bit more, and there's a couple other comments that were already in the chat about this guy here. But this is Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, and he's 6'3", 225. This is the ideal wide receiver X frame. He had 66 catches and over 1,100 yards last season, and he ultimately had 6 games over 100 yards, including 1 outstanding performance against Alabama, where he had 179 and 2 receiving touchdowns against a good defense. So you want to tell us a little bit about him, and maybe Brain will want to pick him with his first pick in the Empire League. I don't know.
Well, hold on. Is this ranked?
These
not
are
necessarily.
Yeah,
So
you
what
want
I
to
would
tell
say
them how you
is
put these together?
That's all.
Yeah.
I want a number.
He did it consensus. He kind of did it in a consensus ranking.
So
right?
it's ranked by other people essentially.
So let me explain this real quick, right? So right now, this draft is kind of, at least for the receivers, is kind of working a little bit differently than, let's say, last year or 2 years ago, right? Last year, for example, you had Jamar Chase, clear number 1, and then probably, I think, Rashad Bateman or Rondale Moore or Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle, right? Something like that is your next. For this one, no one seems to agree on a top receiver, but rather we have kind of an agreement of who would be among the top receivers.
Well, who's your number 1? That's what I want to know.
This guy is my number 1.
And what about the last guy? That's your number 2.
That's my number 2. Gotcha. He would be my number 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Treylon Burks, like you said, ideal alpha receiver size, frame to him. Man, he's got killer speed. He's fast. He's big. His hands can cover your face. I think we've gone over this a couple times. But
we showed that picture.
He wears size 5 XL gloves. Those are custom made because his hands are too big, quite literally. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. What I would describe him to you as is he's very similar to what Trey Lance was last year for the quarterbacks, right? We said, what about Trey Lance? We said he was probably the rawest, most unpolished prospect of all of the quarterbacks. But we also said he probably has the highest upside. We haven't seen the upside yet. We're kind of, working towards that. But that's what most people said, hey, most raw, highest upside. I think that's what you're getting here with Treylon Burks. Most raw receiver, highest upside.
Are we looking at Claypool without a TikTok account?
This guy is way better than Claypool, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, but for a game and a half, I thought Claypool could be the next biggest thing.
Next big thing. I mean, hey,
that was a brief moment in time.
It was only a game and a half, though.
I'm going back in. I'm going back in.
This may last a lot longer.
I'm not including this season at all when I'm talking about Claypool.
True.
Not one bit. But yeah. All right. Well,
just to finish off Treylon Burks on a high note here. I compared the last one to Stephon Diggs, right? And then I also Tyler Lockett. So you kind of have a little bit of a range here. That's what you were alluding to, a high low. For this one, I don't see anything other than A.J. Brown DK Metcalf, like these types of molds, these physical specimens who were just absolute freaks. Well, obviously Metcalf, we may have a slightly lower opinion on, but as of last year, Calvin Johnson, all of those types of things, like this is my type of guy, honestly. That's why I'm a big fan of him, Treylon Burks. Where is he going to go in the NFL draft? Because he is not as polished. You're going to have some. I see one comment coming.
N'Keal Harry.
You're going to have some better, or not better, I would say more experienced receivers getting taken earlier. This guy could be in that 25, 32 pick range. New England Patriots would be insane.
But couldn't you do a pro comp N'Keal Harry?
Pro comp to N'Keal Harry?
No, you can't. No, you can't. The answer is
I'm not gonna do that.
The answer is no. Okay, but we'll answer this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kayla says, would you say he's the most physically gifted wide receiver in this class?
Yep, Kelsey got it. Absolutely. Guy's a physically dominant specimen. But Drew, there is that one guy, the very last guy we'll talk about. He would be the second in terms of physically gifted.
Yeah, we didn't get to see a lot of him this season, so we'll talk about him.
We'll get there. We'll
sign off for sure. Definitely. Right. But I like the comps. Let's move on to the next guy we got on the list. So this guy's season got cut short due to a fractured ankle when he actually caught a 6-yard touchdown, by the way. But he had a monster season in those 8 games. He's 6'5", 210. He's a basketball player at USC as well. He had just under 1,100 yards receiving on 88 catches. So he was a possession guy, more or less. He had 6 games of over 100 yards and 10 catches in 5 games. So 10 plus catches. I mean, I saw some of the stats and he had like 13, 14, 15 catches in one of those, in a game. So he had 5 games where he had 10 or more catches. That's pretty monster stuff. This is Drake London out of USC, by the way, for the listeners.
You said he caught a touchdown on his broken ankle? Is that what you said?
Well, he caught a 6-yard touchdown and broke his ankle on the same play, held on to the ball, so it counted as a touchdown.
Huh. At least he completed the play.
At least he's a gamer, right?
Right. Yeah. What I'd say is this. Obviously, you're going to look at his height, and you're going to say you're going to think 6'5", he's the tallest. He must be this massive human being. Put him in as an X, right? Couple of hesitations I have with that, though it is possible he could one day develop into that alpha. One is in college, he played primarily out of the slot, right? When I mean primarily out of the slot, I mean like he would only line up maybe 5 total times outside. Everything else is from the slot. So most of the stuff comes from the inside receiver position. And then on top of that, he doesn't have that home run speed that you kind of need with an X to take the top off. Not like your deep threat necessarily, but you do need some legitimate next level speed, like a second gear or something. He doesn't exactly have that. And then also this is an effect of him playing from the slot mostly, but he doesn't have the most diverse route tree, right? You want your true alpha male receiver to be able to run everything, basically. Run a deep route, run a 7, run a 9, run a slant, all that type of stuff, right? But he's kind of limited in that, and I don't know, maybe that has to do with him being placed in the slot during college, or maybe that's just, he found what he's good at, and he's just going to be limited. Who knows?
There's one guy in the Discord, he just cares about only one thing.
Yeah.
His BMI.
His BMI.
looking a bit low.
Yeah, it is. It is
a bit low.
He definitely needs to gain some muscle.
Bulk up a bit.
That is for sure.
Another thing of note though for this guy is he didn't have like the best quarterback throwing it to him at all. All season. He had Keaton Slovis, who was kind of underwhelming this season, and for a portion there, he had a freshman quarterback, Jackson Dart, who's a good prospect, but nowhere near like, elite at this point. So Drake still produced pretty darn well. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but it looks like Mr. Kale almost has like a similar thought
in mind. Yeah, he knows it. He
So
knows his
Kale
stuff,
says
Mr.
he
Kale.
loves Drake London. Dude reminds him of Mike Evans so much. Just hope he can stay healthy. I know we went over this already, but do you want to tell him some of your high-low comps, I guess?
Yeah, so Mike Evans is a good one. I think he's
Yep.
6'4", very similar size. Honestly, I don't think there's any better comparison than Mike Evans because very similar size, very similar skills. I can envision Drake London being played in a very similar role to Mike Evans. I can see a similar career trajectory as Mike Evans. So there's a lot more similarities than just size and skills between these two guys. If I were
And
to give
for
you
the
a second
record,
name,
Duchesne did say Mike Evans before the show when we went through this the first time. So
That's
he
true.
was already on that, Kale. I'm just pointing that out. So
This is true. I did have two
you
names
guys
in Mike
think
Evans
alike.
as well.
You guys
But
do
I'll
think
give you a
alike.
second name though. It would be you remember that Saints wide receiver from a little bit ago, Marquez Colston?
Yep.
I think he's very similar. He's also kind of similar to Mike Evans. Big body, good ball skills, stuff like that. Route running, slot receiver.
Amar
see
says he
Brandon
reminds him a
Marshall,
little
though.
bit of Brandon Marshall.
Maybe. I feel like Brandon Marshall a little bit lankier.
And then we have another comment.
Brandon Marshall also doesn't have that speed, so maybe that's actually not terrible.
I'm looking at everyone's weight, and everyone weighs 225 pounds. That's
That's actually kind of
6'5".
Well,
And so this guy weighs 210. So I mean, this is going to be definitely a con when assessing him. We gotta
100%. Yeah,
we have to
physical
look at
play.
this.
He brings nothing when it comes to run blocking. Obviously,
See, Mike
can't
Evans
sustain
could
any
run
blocks.
block, and I mean,
He's
this
also
it keeps people on the field too. That's also it's also a worry. Like Cooper Cup, one reason we took him, may not have been because that's why we hit it, but one reason we took Cooper Cup was he's always in the game because he's a great run blocker, and people fear Mike Evans and his run blocking. So it's like, it's something there, but maybe we smell a discount. Maybe we can get him at a discount.
Well, the ankle could put him off until like the middle of training camp next year too. He may not actually be, healthy enough to participate in like OTAs and all that because of the broken ankle too. So he could be a little bit behind as a rookie wide receiver right out of camp.
Yeah, and that to me, because again, he's for sure in everyone's tier 1 of receivers. Not entirely for me, right? Because of what you guys are alluding to. And also the thing is with him, he has that injury, that ankle injury, as you were saying. He might be out for the camp for a little bit. And the thing is with him is that I have not seen. I'm following mock draft data pretty closely now because we're kind of getting to that season.
We're there.
His stock is not dropping a bit. So it looks like the NFL, whatever medical advanced analytics they're looking at, they don't have any worries.
Are you sure it's not just mocks being stupid?
I don't know, maybe, but
people don't. Mocks don't make money. Mocks aren't. They're not update. Like people update stuff that makes money. Like mocks are for. They just put anything out there. So I don't know if you're going off mocks, like
sure, mock drafts, but also even general, like anyone who's posting their wide receiver rankings out there right now, they'll have Drake London pretty high still.
That matters more. They're more serious. There's people more serious and passionate about that. This is just at this point, some mock drafts are just like filler content to put up, right? Mock drafts get more serious as as we approach spring. So but people that are dynasty freaks and post, they're definitely more concerned and they try to do their best for sure.
Yeah.
What are you saying? His stock hasn't fallen there as well.
Fallen, even among the dynasty guys though. And that's, to me, for me, his stock has fallen a little bit just because it's a fractured ankle. It's not like a a one-day concussion or like a some minor sprain or anything. It's fractured. So I think me and Drew, we were looking this up earlier, right? We found that 2/3 of people in the NFL, when they suffer this injury, they take about 11 months to heal. And then most of them don't even come back. In the first 3 seasons, they're less productive than what they were before the injury. So I don't know if that's going to hamper Drake London in any way, but just a red flag to be aware about.
We got my boy GMM coming in. Just wanted to mention, the pro comps we're given sometimes are kind of the upside. Like obviously, if a rookie wide receiver is gonna be like Mike Evans, that's a huge compliment, and more leaning towards an unlikely scenario. So we're not afraid to give pro comps of people that make the Pro Bowl or even potential Hall of Famers. But obviously, if this guy becomes Mike Evans, that he would exceed expectations, and I think everyone
Definitely
would be
exceed,
happy. Yeah,
absolutely.
for
definitely
sure.
exceed. Let's move on to the next guy. How about that?
Sure.
So the next guy we have, this is one of the guys that stock has risen the most this season. Now, we showed you a guy already from Ohio State. That was our first guy, Garrett Wilson. Jameson Williams transferred from Ohio State, and we're going to show you another Ohio State wide receiver later on. But this guy is sneaking up the draft boards. Do you want to tell him a little bit why he's been such a stud? I can read off some of the stats. I mean, he's got 1,500-yard season, 75 receptions, 15 touchdowns. This guy was breaking long catches all year.
That's exactly what it is, right? The big plays. I think we were discussing earlier. We were saying 94 yards, 75 yards, and 81-yard touchdowns.
I have his longs here. So for the first game of the season, it was a 94-yard long. Fourth game of the season, 81. Then you move into, what is that, the seventh, eighth game, 75, 65, 58, 50, 79. That's all in order. Those are games that he played where he had a touchdown of that length. I mean, that's incredible. I know he's not playing against NFL defenses at this point, but still, you got to give it up to something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the speed is really, really the first thing that jumps out at me, right? That's how he's getting open on these big plays. And we did some deeper digging here. They're not just simply him just going deep and catching the ball,
No.
40 yards in the air and then running it for another 30. He's done some work where he's catching it like a 8-yard, 9-yard completion, and then he's taking it to the house. He's weaving it way through defenders, taking it to the house. So really his vision, his route running, his speed, all that stuff. He's a savvy, cerebral player as well. He uses his head when he's running these routes. All of that just kind of just combines and just converges into this vertical threat basically that we have.
Yeah. I mean, he was running past defenders, going by him, catching long passes. Like you were saying, he was catching 6-yard, 10-yard passes and converting them into long plays. And then Kale has a good comment too. He says he was impressed when he played more of an X role against Cincy with Metchi out, speed and improved route running. I think you hit the nail on the head there. When Metchi was out, this guy really stepped up. The only concern, and I think you may hold the same concern as well, is that weight. I mean, he's got to really bulk up, I think, if he's going to make a big impact in the NFL.
Yeah, so this kind of ties into two things, right? So one, the weakness is definitely size, needs to put on some weight. And of course that, because of the size, you get some other issues like, tackle breaking ability and, run blocking. And what I would say
Jump balls.
Yeah, right. What I would say is these are all the same kind of red flags that were given to the guy I would compare this man to, who's another Alabama receiver from the past, Devonta Smith.
Gotta love it. Yep.
So again, what was his issue? Slim Reaper. He's thin. Does he have the playing strength? Can he break the tackles? Can he stay on the field with run blocking or lack thereof? But he has the speed. So that's one part of it. That's that home run threat where we did see some plays where he's catching those 50-yard bombs.
Getting behind
the ball
defenders
is in the air for 50 yards. I mean, right? So he's the deep plays. He's taking the top off the defense. But then you also see he has a little bit of Jalen Waddle in him. What does Jalen Waddle do? He gets the ball, at least in Miami, what is he doing? He gets the ball within 5 yards, and then he just weaves his way kind of laterally through the field. And then all of a sudden, instead of a 2-yard completion, it's a first down on a 26-yard gain out of nowhere. So he has these kinds of skills or traits to where I would say this guy is very similar to both Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle of last year.
That's a pretty cool comparison. What do you think about that, Brain? So we're saying that this guy, Jameson Williams, has similarities to both Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle in one guy.
It's probably exact. I mean, you're talking about pro comp, you're talking about BMI comp, you're talking about college comp. I mean, this is these comps are just falling into place. They're perfect.
We were making comments earlier that he can get past defenders and catch the ball down the field, and he can also catch the ball short and run past defenders. You see what I mean? Like,
we have a question that someone's trying to stump you guys. Let's see if they stump you.
Let's see. Can you play well versus press man is key? All right, I have not looked this deep into this, man.
He stumped you. Oh no!
I'll get that to you.
We'll bring that back.
For the draft guy.
We'll bring it back.
I'll probably tweet it out as soon as we have that answer. But Devonta, that was the question with Devonta Smith, and people dug a lot deep into that. And so Devonta Smith did play well against press coverage, apparently. And so just like Justin Fields actually did show up to practice. Last year's draft class was that was berserk. I don't think we can ever. Actually, I say that every year, and then somebody, someone's stepdad or something tweets out a photo or a video of them with a gas mask. So, like every year, something happens, or like every year, like Mac Jones all of a sudden has 2 DUIs, and I had people researching trying to find the second DUI, and we could not find it. Like,
it's a mystery DUI.
He had a good lawyer.
From what I know, he's only got one. But I'm not gonna say I know for sure. But we did try to find the second DUI. We did try to find if Justin Fields was actually the last one to show up and first one out, which wasn't true. Like, this is just, it was just. I don't know what's going on here, but there's a slightly deeper conspiracy. It's just not entertaining enough for us to know exactly what. But every year there is like a crazy girlfriend or an angry mother or a vengeful stepdad or a team spreading fake news about Mac Jones or Justin Fields, or finding a tweet from when they were a teenager, seemed a little sketchy, Josh Allen. And so people just, it happens every year.
Every year, you're right though.
So I just gonna say last year I think last year to me probably stood out as a Niner fan with the Trey Lance and Mac Jones. I think that really amped with the 5 quarterbacks, and it was amplified. But we're going to see it again, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
This year, someone's doing this for ratings or something, like, or multiple people doing it for multiple things.
Here's a good comment. So Amar, our friend from the Empire League and a friend of the show for sure. He says 0 catches when Sauce Gardner. That's Ahmad Gardner from Cincy covered him. That's his boy. And then another comment from Chris saying Sauce Gardner is going to be a stud. Book it. He already declared, I believe.
Yeah, I'm glad we have some college football fans in the chat today. That's good.
Those are good comments, by the way. Good comments. Let's move on to the next.
Just one last thing before we wrap up.
No. Let's go.
I did want to say, because I know someone asked about press man coverage, right? He is going to be playing January 10th, Monday.
Yes, correct? That's Monday, guys. We're going to be seeing him play against Georgia.
So I will national title. For Jameson Williams and press man. I'll look for that.
Good point. And we'll have another guy we'll talk about who's going to be in that game here in a moment as well. But we're going to go back to Ohio State in the Big Ten. Yep. We're going to talk about a guy named Chris Alave. So this man is 6'1", 192 pounds, had 900 yards receiving this season, 65 catches. He did have 500-yard games in 4 games where he had multiple touchdowns. So that's a pretty decent season. What do you think about this guy? I mean, he played on a high-powered offense.
Really quick, has everyone we've talked about so far projected round 1? Because that's what it looks like, unless I'm missing.
Yes, everyone is projected so far round 1. In
that's a big
NFL draft.
Also,
that's the NFL draft, by the way.
Yeah, NFL draft. Yeah,
well, I know you.
20. You got to be clear. 2022 NFL draft. I know you said it in the before we started. I just want to make sure everyone we talked about, including this guy, is projected
Yes.
to be in the first round. That's pretty.
It's a matter of how
Pretty
high.
big deal. Yeah, man. That's huge. When you draft someone in the first round, it's a big deal. As an NFL franchise, we scrutinize the Packers, we scrutinize the Raiders for everything, but it's a big
Definitely,
deal.
for sure. Definitely. In terms of Chris Olave, he screams Z wide receiver to me, which is the guy who lines up opposite of the X. He takes the top off the defense. I think Tyreek Hill is like your, most utilized, maybe even Debo Samuel, right? Two things with him. Route running, great. Speed, perfect. He's got it, right? He actually does this thing where when he's releasing off the line of scrimmage, he'll release in different tempos, right? So sometimes he'll go quick, sometimes he'll go slow, and that actually gets him a lot of his separation. Then on top of that, he's running his routes very smoothly.
Chris.
Also helps for separation, and then he has that second gear, high-end elite home run speed we're looking for. So all three of those things combined, the guy gets open. He plays Z for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He'll probably be a Z receiver in the National Football League. What's his pro comparison? Well, this will be pretty obvious based on what I've just been saying and how I've been talking about him.
Chase Claypool. Oh. Just kidding.
Chase Claypool, love it. Jerry Jeudy, and then I'm not going to say Chase Claypool for this one because the run blocking and the physicality might not be the same for him.
Wait, was there a second one?
Jeudy,
or is it just Jeudy?
Jerry Jeudy and then Will Fuller.
Will Fuller. Oh.
Yeah. He's a deep threat, you know what I'm saying? That's basically what he is.
If I was a prospect, I wouldn't want to be compared to that guy because that guy's always
that's low end. That's
the one time he's not hurt.
Injury. I mean, think about it. If the injuries aside, right? He was pretty productive.
He's great. Yeah, of course. I mean, he won me a lot of leagues when I drafted him last year because he was drafted so early. Turns out he was healthy because of the roids. So if he didn't take those, he would have been hurt. So turns out that was the magic sauce, the illegal sauce.
Don't bring up roids in the general Discord chat about tearing pectoral muscles.
This is our
podcast. On too many tangents.
This is our podcast. This three of we can handle it.
Yeah.
I probably digress there. So we should move on. Let's get into the next guy.
Yeah. So again, Alave, another wide receiver in your first round, both NFL draft and rookie draft.
And now, Sushane, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're probably getting more into the second round here of the NFL draft with David Bell. Although I really like this guy. He's out of Purdue, 6'2", 205 yards. He put up a lot of numbers, 1,300 yards, 93 receptions. He only had 6 touchdowns, but he had 7 games where he had 100 yards and then 2 200-yard efforts. And then he had 4 games with 11 catches, kind of going back to the Drake London stats where he was racking up catches. This guy was doing it all.
I actually heard Jerry Jones might draft him.
So you've already heard that, huh?
I mean, I am.
Really?
Yeah.
That is fascinating.
I can't tell you what I know.
I'm surprised you already know that.
I would be.
I mean, it's just it could be a Jerry Smokescreen Jones. I don't know. I'm just saying.
The guy is a stud,
right? David they might be missing a receiver next year, right? Is Gallup there next year?
He tore his ACL and he's a free agent, I believe. So
yeah, so Jerry Jones might get him. I mean, they're in the luxurious spot where they did kind of fix their defense, and they could go best player available. They could really draft anybody. Here, I don't know what options there are, but if the Cowboys are still picking at the end of the first round, could be this guy.
Yeah, they could even trade back into the early part of the second round, gain another pick, and then take this guy, David
if
Bell.
He's falling,
might fall actually just a little bit.
CeeDee Lamb fell a little bit, so
he did.
You never know.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you why he's falling because Drew, I know you said you liked him. I'm in the same camp. I mean, he's great. I have him in our Devy League. I never looked back.
No, he's amazing. Like every time you look at the stat sheet, he's at the top. Both teams.
Yeah, stat sheet is good, and what I'd say in terms of his skills, he's probably the most. So I told you Treylon Burks was the the rawest prospect, probably most upside, but again, very raw, unpolished. I think David Bell, in terms of the rawness side, is on the exact opposite. He's probably the Mac Jones of this class in terms of, if we're going to use that same Trey Lance analogy.
Right, yeah.
He's the most NFL ready, polished. Now, he does have one thing, which is, again, kind of like Drake London. He has a limited route tree. He hasn't been used in a lot of diverse, running diverse routes, etc. But when he does, for the routes he does run, man, he's very creative. He has a lot of tricks, head fakes, change of direction, this, that. He's very
really good
refined
hands
in terms of the routes that he does run. So I have no issues with saying that he can be a pure alpha receiver. He's got the speed, he's got the traits, he's got the size, he's got all of that. Of course, the limitation is that diverse route tree is missing, but I don't have an issue with that because he's proven to me of the routes that he has run, he does it so well. So if he learns something else, he should excel in that too.
How's the quarterback play in Purdue?
It wasn't great. I don't remember it being great. It could be above average, if anything. I'll have to even look it up.
I'm trying to know just to purely assess Dave Bell better. Like, how's his quarterback, right? Because that's one of the things when I deep dived into Metcalf was studying the play calling and quarterback to see if this guy actually has potential. Because Purdue, I don't know if they have good quarterback play, but this guy's still producing without a quarterback.
Jack Plummer.
Wild Drew gets the name. What I'll say is, you remember Rondale Moore?
Aiden O'Connell, I think that's who it was.
Rondale Moore got hurt, and then David Bell essentially came into Purdue and then just took over, basically. He was basically the guy. Who was the quarterback, Drew?
Aiden O'Connell.
So that's just some no-name college
fifth
guy.
Year senior, and then his backup is Jack Plummer.
Again,
here we go. We have analysis by Cal. Purdue QBs are below average. That's what I thought, and that's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's nothing notable.
So I mean, that's more of a good sign. That's one of the reasons I liked Justin Jefferson. I was not crazy about him. It's one of the reasons why we're scared. Like, all right, Joe Burrow was great. I think a lot of people really like him, but is that why? And turns out the reason why that team was good and probably be one of the best college offenses ever, LSU, was because everybody was good. Because Joe Burrow and all those guys were that amazing. And we're seeing it with Chase and Jefferson both looking like Hall of Fame wide receivers, and they've barely just started playing in the league.
Yeah. In terms of what Purdue's offense is, I do know that David Bell is the only relevant NFL name on offense in terms of the skill position players for quite a while too. So he's it was just Rondale Moore and him is just like the only guys that they had. So that could explain a little bit of his massive production, but I still love the talent regardless, even if he was getting force fed. I mean, the guy is very talented. That's
how Trey Lance was, I think. I think there was, I don't know if one other player on that team got drafted or was projected to get drafted. I think an lineman, but Trey Lance was the only player really in the draft. Yeah. From when I was I don't actually know who got drafted, but pretty sure nobody was really on the board.
It was they had the left tackle Dylan Radins. He got drafted.
He got okay. Yeah, there was one. I
remember that name.
I don't remember if he actually got drafted, but okay. So it was just one player.
Just one player.
No, I like this guy's stats. I like it. I'm a fan of Rondale Moore, so I can I can have Rondale Moore on my dynasty team and David Bell.
That would be nice.
One of them will work out.
Yeah.
The other probably won't.
I'm gonna guess it's this guy, David Bell.
You'd guess this guy.
I mean, I already said my piece about Rondale a few times on the show, so I think this
guy's better than Rondale Moore.
Yeah, tell him.
I think he's better than Rondale Moore.
Better career, better NFL career, better.
Back me up.
I think no, David Bell is more refined than Rondale Moore. I think Rondale Moore has the higher upside.
Rondale Moore's still probably more raw than David Bell. right now.
Yes.
I
Oh,
like
100%.
this comment by the AMR because he misspelled his name. David Blah just came out of Purdue. That's all.
He corrected it
we
though.
That's
need
all
to
we need to know.
Yeah, but this is how it really should be spelled, though. This
David
really
Blah.
demonstrates. This is the true David Blau. This is what it's all about. It's David Blah. David Blah. This is what it should be. Just came out of Purdue. That's all we need to know.
Well
Okay,
said.
before we go to this last guy, Sushane has some honorable mentions he wants to give, and then we're gonna go to our last guy on the top 8, if you will. Do you want to give him a little taste of what they can expect to see on the draft guide?
Wait, this is so you have 8 receivers on this list, 8 wide receivers. They're all
I think we're
tier
done after this
1,
one.
you would say, or
Yeah,
tier 1
basically tier
and
Oh no,
one.
I'm sorry.
Tier
We
one
got
and a
2
half,
more. We got 2
solid.
more. We got 2
Okay.
more.
We're
Let
gonna
me
go from they can be picked inside the top 10 of the NFL draft to up to, I would say, the middle of round 2.
But you'd
all
say they're
8
all the same tier.
Very similar, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
For
It's very
now,
muddy.
they're gonna
It's gonna
separate
be
themselves.
very muddy. Yeah.
I got one more
Wow.
guy, then do the honorables. So hold on, we got one
Sure.
more. We got 2 more guys total. Do you want to
Wow.
ask another question, Brain, before we move on to the next
No,
guy?
that's it. It's just-
Okay. So this
It's really
next
about
guy,
the prototype that you want, right? Because I mean, you have all these round 1 and round 2 guys. If you want an X receiver, take Burks or Bell. If you want a slot, maybe you want to go with Garrett Wilson or Drake London. If you want that kind of boomer bust kind of best ball type of guy, well, maybe we can get to the guy we're about to talk about, Drew.
oh,
Wait,
but
who
did
was
we
this?
give the
Who was
comp?
this pro
Did we
comp?
give the
Did you
comp for
say?
David Bell?
Oh,
I don't
David
remember.
Bell. My apologies. The pro comp
Sorry,
for David
Kale.
Bell.
He reminded us.
I
Oh
thought
yeah,
you-
yeah. So refined route runner, Keenan Allen. This is too easy. I think
Keenan Allen.
too easy.
Keenan Allen, huh?
Looks like a carbon copy, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah. You're getting him happy here. He already liked him. Now he
Oh.
loves him.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying, dude.
God.
He already liked him.
God.
Now he's definitely picking him. How many
Oh,
first round picks
man.
do you have?
I have them all. I can draft all these, every guy. If I'd have to only take wide receiver. I can draft every one of these guys.
No, that if you're talking Empire League, that's 100% the move. We're
we're
get to
gonna
that in
rebuild that
Mikey's
team.
day,
Yeah,
but
we're
drafting
rebuilding that
only
team.
receivers would 100% be the move.
I already have Trey Lance, so I'm good. I don't need a quarterback for 30
Yeah, you're
years.
chilling. You're good.
Yeah, I'm
We're
good.
still thinking about a team name for that, by the way. Okay, so let's move on. We got 2 more guys. This next guy, he'll take the top right off of defense. This man, Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. This picture is really fitting, I think. The referee in the back signaling touchdown, because that's basically what this guy did all season. He had 13 total touchdowns in 12 games, 500-yard games, including a 242-yard output against Maryland, where he had 11 catches and 3 receiving touchdowns to boot. What do you say about this guy, Jahan Dotson, and where would he stack up to maybe like some NFL guys, or maybe a comp or 2 you can give us?
So Jahan Dotson, I mean, you can just read the height weight for yourself. He's clearly the smallest guy on this list.
Oh, for
Why is
sure.
he ranked so high? Yeah, by quite a margin too. Why is he ranked so high, and why might he be picked in the later stages of round 1 in the NFL draft, possibly round 2? Because he really has speed. I mean, we're talking Tyreek Hill type speed,
Big
Henry
time
Ruggs
speed.
type speed. We're talking not like when we say, hey, speed is a strength. Okay, great. This guy's on another level of that. He's
Definitely
really, really fast. And on top of that, he does have a little bit of craftiness when it comes to his route running. So those 2 things make him a legitimate, realistic deep threat. I know, Brain, you play a lot of best ball. This is the best ball guy for sure. Like, he can get you 25 points, I think, in one day. He can also put up nothing. I think this is your typical boomer bust, home run type of big play receiver. If you want a player comparison, Deshaun Jackson, right? That's what he is. Big play, take the top off the defense, vertical threat.
sticky hands. I mean,
Sticky
he can
hands,
catch,
yep.
catch almost anything
I
his
forgot to mention
way.
that. He has remarkably strong hands. It's kind of ridiculous. Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, you got to see some of his tape, Brain. It's pretty incredible the catches he makes. We talked about it actually in the very first Debbie segment, but we're talking highlight reel. This guy is a highlight reel. Yeah, he's literally a highlight reel.
Best ball dynasty, baby. Here we come.
Best ball dynasty. Here we come, right?
That's a real
Yeah,
thing. For those that don't know, that's a real thing.
when I
Actually
renewed the
spend
Sleeper
money
league,
on
it's
this.
an option now. Sleeper has it.
Yeah,
You can do it
yeah.
in Sleeper. It's an option. So we might
Oh,
have to
really?
start
On
one of
Sleeper
those up.
now too?
Yeah, when I
Yeah,
renewed the last
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
it's an option.
Now we're talking
they just
Now
came out with it a few months ago. Best ball.
for sure.
All
All right,
right,
Drew, should
guys.
we do
So
the honorable mentions
yeah,
then?
let's give some honorable mentions, and then we're going to go to another guy that we really are high on. We'll talk about him in just a moment. What do you think, Sushane, for some honorable mentions?
Sure. So these are all guys that are not going to be picked in the first round or the first round and a half of the NFL draft. But let's say you're in a situation where, your team was competing this year. You just need that one last piece. So you traded away your first round pick and you went for it. You won your league. Everything's great. But now the season's over. You're trying to win for next year and you don't have that first round pick. But you need to get
Yeah,
a
you
little
have
better, right?
you have like a late second or something,
Like a
right?
late second or something, right? So these are some of the guys who are still very much worth, putting some attention to, studying up a little bit. But what I'm going to say is that we're not going to cover these guys in any podcasts. Instead, we're going to have this dynasty guide come out for you maybe in a couple months, 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it is, after the combine and the pro days and whatever comes out, right? And you'll have all types of information like what we discussed here, the skill set,
Even more
statistical
so.
overview, the player comps, and all sorts of stuff for all these players. So I just wanted to at least put you guys in a direction, steer you guys somewhere, just so you know that, hey, while these 8 receivers are good, if you're sitting at a late second round or mid second round, you might not be getting any of them. Who can you get? So we have Wandale Robinson from Kentucky,
Yep, big time
John
talent.
Metchi from Alabama. A couple of guys have already said his name. I know one comment had John Metchi here.
Yep, he's a
Drew,
good
I know
player.
you're high on this guy from Clemson, Justin Ross.
Gotta love it. Yep.
Wait, let me
Romeo
write him
Dubes.
down. Wendell Robinson.
Oh, he's writing him down. You didn't
Wandale
draft these
Robinson.
guys?
Well, I mean, we got a little. There's been.
We got a list we
few,
can send
there's
you,
few
Brandon, don't
dozen. There's a few dozen people that have tuned into the entire podcast. Just
Oh, I see you're typing.
they
them in.
haven't
Okay.
signed. Like this is the type of podcast where nobody left.
I thought you were
everyone's
keeping
been-
this for your own self.
Everyone's been tuned in. And so I just wanted to write them down. So the first one's Wendell Robinson. What's the next one?
So
You want me to
WAN,
do
like
it?
wand, and then
No. I got that guy. No, we're just.
John
I'm just
Metchi
writing
third.
him in this.
I'll put him in. Brandon.
Yeah, write him in the chat and just
Write him
put
in the
there.
chat.
we
I
go.
got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So
That's all.
the
That's
next
all I
one
want.
was-
Yeah.
The next
So
one was
Wandale
Metchi.
Robinson we got. John Metchi,
Third one.
out of Alabama. He did have the injury. Jameson Williams stepped up. I don't think we're going to see him play this weekend, right?
No, Amar just said he tore his ACL. He's probably not going to be going back to school. He's asking if he declared yet. Let me check on that for you.
Yeah. Continuing with the names, though, again, there was one guy you liked. He's out of Clemson. He'll be available. Justin Ross, talented.
Just put his name in the chat there.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a guy that Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr., they're the draft experts, right? They like this kid out of Nevada, Romeo Dubes. And then there's 3 other guys that maybe, they're kind of, we'll see what teams they end up on, and it'll give us more information on how useful they'll be. But we have Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama, Zay Flowers from Boston College, and Khalil Shakir from Boise State. So those are 8 more guys, or 7 more guys on top of these 8 that you might want to be interested in.
And just from what I'm draft. Yeah, sorry to keep cutting you off, Sushane. From what I'm seeing, just doing quick searches, guys, it does not look like Metchi has committed yet. So that could change in the coming weeks, of course. Declared, sorry.
When's the last one?
Declared, committed.
When's the deadline to declare for the draft?
Oh, they got some time, right?
There's a little bit of time to do that, yeah. Because I know there's still one more game that plays on Monday, and then after that, that's when we'll really see everything kind of kick up, and we'll know who's staying for the extra year, who's not. We have had a couple people from other positions, not so much of the wide receiver position, who were eligible this year, but then they've decided I'm going to stay in college. Obviously, Spencer Rattler is the the biggest name probably who's done that. So those people do exist. Like there will probably be more of those players who we expect to be in the 2022 draft, but stay in college. But for now, this is what we're going to go with. All of these guys we've mentioned today are expected to be drafted in 2022. And I do see that we posted here that January 17th would be the deadline. So it's coming up 11 days away. So we'll know very soon.
So let's move on to our last but not least.
One last question. So,
Go
okay,
ahead.
so you're in the second round and all 7 of these guys are available who you're drafting. You have to pick one. What are these wide receivers?
Drew, you want to go first? I have my name.
I go Justin Ross.
Justin Ross? Okay.
Yeah, I think he definitely
Wan'Dale Robinson.
And I think you couldn't miss with either one, honestly.
I think both of those guys in the top, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Justin didn't really get to show off his skills this season. There's a lot to that, but the Clemson offense just was so sluggish. But I think Wan'Dale really did get to show off his talent this season. So I could see your point too.
One thing I'll say about Justin Ross, and that this is the only detail we'll give about these guys. He does have a pretty checkered injury history.
It's true.
But a very, very high end.
There's like a neck injury or something, a pretty crucial injury he had to recover from. Big red flag. Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, let's finish this off with our last guy.
All right, this guy we're both really excited about.
Oh yeah, baby.
George Pickens out of Georgia. Now, just to preface, George was out almost this whole entire season with a torn ACL, I think it was.
Yep,
so these stats.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and these stats are from last season, 2020. But the size, 6'3", 200 pounds. He could add a couple more pounds, but 500 yards, 36 receptions. This was last season, 6 touchdowns over 8 games. And then he had in the Peach Bowl last season a 7-catch, 135-yard performance against Cincy. I don't think Sauce was on him at that point. We would have to go back and check. But just in any case, he's only played 4 games this season, and I think he'll be playing. I don't know how many snaps on Monday, but he should be at least getting his fair share of targets, I would say, because they're going to need him. Right, they're going to need him against Alabama to show up to hopefully win that game.
Absolutely. So what I would say about him is just going back generally here. I said Treylon Burks is my favorite, and I told you guys that he, I think, in my opinion, has that kind of X-receiver prototype. Then I told you David Bell is another one of my favorites, X-receiver prototype. I didn't tell you that any of the Z's or the slot receivers were guys that I was interested in or into too much. George Pickens, in my opinion, ex-alpha receiver. So yes, I do like him. That's what I'm looking for. You can very easily tell the trend and what types of receivers I'm into. So because of that, the size, the skills, the projection, the role he should be projected to play in his NFL offense, I am absolutely head over heels on this guy.
Not to mention catch radius, right? You were telling me
catch radius is
the catch radius is
Oh my goodness. So here's the things that are working with him in that catch radius, right? Uber athlete, like he just if I told you anyone's strength today was athleticism, it's not like this guy. This guy is an uber athlete, like Kyle Pitts type athlete, right? Like he is insane.
And a bulldog.
You can see from that picture too, he's got great length. He's got these long arms, not necessarily like Kyle Pitts in that regard, because Kyle Pitts was just kind of, he had freaky long arms. George Pickens just has good length. And then also he's very physical. So that contested catch ability, if it's a close battle with a DB, like he'll use that physical play style to get an edge. And all of that is going to kind of combine itself into that catch radius, into that, that yards after catch. He's tough to bring down. All of these
he's going to be a yak
kind
monster.
of work together. He's got the speed as well. I mean, he's got everything. He's got all the traits. What's the problem? He's got a legitimate character flaw, man. He's a little bit of a diva. And when I say a little bit of a diva, I mean he is He's a lot of a diva. A lot.
Now, how far into the diva range? Are we talking like
So we're
a
talking
Chad
he had-
Ochocinco? Are we talking a Terrell Owens? Are we talking a AB? I mean, there's like three
Okay, so
levels
AB
to.
is on like another level of just like
That's like blowing the
just
charts
on
So
off.
this
something
guy's
like-
diva comp
right?
is like Des Bryant.
There you go.
Is that
That
too
could be the
much? Is
diva
that
comp. The diva comp is
Honestly,
Dez.
yeah, something
Is
like
that
that. I mean, let me just tell you what's gone down in his college career, right? In just his college career, he's had a half game suspension. Okay, he threw a punch in a game and got ejected. These are two independent incidences, and he had several other unsportsmanlike, just kind of like scattered, just general unsportsmanlike conduct incidences. All of that. I mean, the guy threw a punch in a game. Like that's freaking like I'm from Chicago, so we know this guy Javon Wims who threw a punch in that Saints game. Like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Kadarius Toney earlier this year.
Just do better. Kadarius Toney as well. So that is
Tony could be
really
on the diva
just-
scale, by the way. We'll find out soon enough. But just
Say that
plain-
again?
He's definitely on there.
Yeah,
Tweeting
I
from
know,
the
it's like-
airplane,
Kadarius
punching
is
with
on
the
the
helmet
diva scale,
on.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely somewhere on this troublemaker scale for sure. And that's the only red flag that I have for him. There's nothing like on his skills that are telling me like don't pick this guy, other than the injury, of course. But that's not a skill. That's just the injury history and whatever.
Remember
in
this
terms of
video
where-
too, Sushane? You remember this
Yeah.
video that Kale's pointing out when he shushed the sideline before the play, then proceeded to absolutely wreck the DB. I mean, we're talking about like flatten. Then he looked back over to the sideline and proceeded to shush them again.
Yeah. So I mean, when you talk about an alpha wide receiver, I mean, you're getting a freaking
That's
alpha male.
basically what you
Like,
want.
literally.
That is
my
truly.
type of guy. Oh my god. I mean, look, I understand the character is definitely a real issue, but man, oh god, I want my hands on this guy for sure. He's gonna be so good. I think. Just
I really
have him
think so
calm
too.
down. You know, just whatever. he
Will
needs
the
to do,
Browns
keep his-
draft
keep
him
his
like in
mind.
round 2?
Oh, they might wreck him.
Yeah,
They might
so
wreck him.
that's what I was going to get into. Where is he going to get taken, right? There's two things that are working against him a little bit. One is that ACL injury. He literally missed the majority of this year, basically.
Yeah, he's only played
all the
3
regular
games.
season was gone.
I said 4 games earlier. He's actually played 3. So on Monday will be his 4th game
Monday will
of the
be his
season.
fourth, and that includes one of them last week was a playoff game. So really, he's only played 1 regular season game, 1 conference championship, 1 CFP game.
Right.
His regular
he's-
season was exactly 1 game, nothing.
Right. Nothing.
So that's working against him. And then also those character red flags, I know they're going to pop up. I'm telling you now, they're going to pop up. Both of those two things I feel like are going to prevent him from getting taken in the first round of the NFL draft. But the talent is too much to ignore to let him slip into round 3. So round 2, in the middle somewhere, maybe in the early stages, that's definitely where he's going to get picked. For your rookie drafts, probably late round 1. If he falls to you round 2, I would just instantly click the draft button and don't even think twice.
Yeah, he should be in your queue at the end of round 1, I think.
100%.
If
yeah.
not sooner, if you like him like we do.
Yeah. And in terms of a player comparison, I think Mike Williams, honestly, because good size, catch radius. Obviously, Mike Williams hasn't really come to fruition. I think George Pickens will be better than Mike Williams. I'm not afraid to say that.
Agreed.
But I just think in terms of the skill set, body type, BMI, role on the offense, all that stuff, I think Mike Williams is a fair comparison to make here.
Mike Williams' biggest knock was his 40 time, basically. His top end speed. And so
Just
I don't
wasn't
know.
there.
Well, that was his knock as a prospect. Yeah, they were worried about it.
Yeah, I don't know if George Pickens is going to have that type of knock on him because he does have the speed.
Yeah, he does have it.
It says projected 40 time is 4.5. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, but
That's still solid, though, for someone
Yeah.
who catches and runs all the routes and is athletic and can punk defenders. Basically,
I mean, you
can
saw,
run
you
block.
saw the clip. Kale
Yeah,
was
4.5 is
that
fine. I mean, you're okay because Jahan Dotson is going to run the 4.3. right? That's like 2/10 faster. I mean, 4.5 isn't that slow, is my point.
Right. Hey,
Yeah,
I know
Mike
you wanted
Williams.
a Chase Claypool comparison. In terms of the run blocking and the physicality, here's your guy. I'll say that much.
Yeah, you were saying the Cooper
Chase
Kupp?
Claypool?
Chase Claypool for the run blocking and the physicality.
Mike Williams? Okay.
A little bit there. Why not?
That's what you said. I thought you said Cooper Kupp. Sorry. So that kind of wraps up the players we have to show you guys this evening. Braden, you want to make any more comments on this? Should we open it up for questions? We've been kind of almost hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, I don't
here in
think
a couple
anybody
minutes.
has any questions, but yeah, if you guys do, hit it up. And I actually made a sketch. Just a sketch
you
to
added
to
this.
put on the refrigerator here.
Oh, beautiful. Nice.
This is beautiful.
XYZ. Is this correct? Did I sketch this correct?
That is correct. Very good.
There we go. The Y
Wouldn't
is the
this guy be
slot.
off of here a little bit? He'd be
Well,
off.
yeah. I mean, this is a little
I'm
bit.
just
This is
messing
a little
with
bit
you.
of a mid '90s version.
Well, actually, Drew, technically you are allowed up to 7 on the line of scrimmage. So
technically it
legal.
could be okay.
Yeah. The Y is legal there. So you're
There
good.
you go.
That's a tight end in this case. You just
Yeah.
if the tight end move, shifts over 3-4 steps, it's still the
That's
same.
exactly why we call.
Well, you have a
receiving
fullback
tight
here
end a
too.
wide tight end.
Yeah, this like I said,
There's
this
a
is
fullback in here.
This is more of the 1990s depiction.
Yeah.
This is how the 1990s used to look.
This is when you used to play Madden.
I formation
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Back
All right, guys.
way back in the day.
Does anybody have any questions before we get out of here for the? Now, what are we gonna do for schedule now since the season's over? We haven't actually discussed this.
I don't think that far. So we're just gonna continue. So now we usually take a huge break, but now we have dynasty content. We're gonna be hacking my tank. What do we call it? Hack my tank or
rebuild your
hack my
We'll
rebuild.
figure out
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
Hack my rebuild. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing that, and then we're gonna be, for my team, and then we're gonna do it for anybody else who wants to get their dynasty team hacked, and how would they draft this year. And I think we should basically do everything, right? So who are they going to draft this year? No, don't do this because in 2023, or don't do this because you can trade away, or go trade this and do, it's endless. And that's why these hacks will take a long time, but we got nothing else going on. I have, there's nobody in line that's like, hey, hack me, do this. And we're just going to go through, do a deep dive. And I don't think anybody has a team that's going to take more time or be more intricate than mine, because I have picks. Oh my God. I got so many picks, and I don't know. Maybe I should go get another one. Does anybody want Dallas Goedert? If somebody was to take a Dallas Goedert, I can get another.
You could get rid of Eli Mitchell, I think. I think you could trade Eli Mitchell right now before the draft comes up.
That's the thing. I want to kind of
keep Eli Mitchell. Actually,
I can't trade. I can't trade all my players. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. At this point, you got to keep some.
I keep assets. Yeah, I already traded away Godwin. Like, I traded away a lot. I'm keeping Hollywood Brown. I think I'm keeping Eli Mitchell. I'm keeping Trey Lance.
You sold CEH really high too.
Yeah, Dobbins and CEH.
Sold everyone really high.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. The only guy that I sold that I regretted was Tua, but Gene also traded for Jacoby Brissett. He paid an arm and a leg. He was desperate. And so, I got over on that too after that, because that really helped it, because I got rid of Jacoby Brissett, freed up a roster space, and no use for. I mean, no one has any use for Jacoby Brissett. Let's face it.
Picked up Jarrett Patterson. Yeah. That was a good pickup.
Oh yeah, I did. That was just wow. Yeah, I mean, having that roster space is a huge deal. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think I'm strong at tight end. I got Goddard and Freiermuth and.
Yeah, you got Komet, Tremble, Granson. You got all those guys. If one of them pops,
the Washington tight end too, John Bates.
John Bates, yeah.
Oh, you don't forget John Bates.
No, you don't forget John Bates.
You cannot forget John Bates.
Two touchdown John Bates.
You had one job to keep track of 2 touchdowns. 2 catches.
You think that dude was a Washington poop ball fan? That's why.
Oh, he had to be.
He is a limit.
Possible.
They will never know that I put 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, you put 2 touchdowns for him. Oh my God. He's like, yeah, we scored against the Cowboys. All right, guys, we're gonna end it there. If you like this, hit a thumbs up. If you want some promo deals on Trophy Smack, I know a lot of people have winners. We got like toilet bowl trophies, regular trophies, reigns, belts. I got a promo code for you guys. So check that out. This is the infamous reign right here. I mean, this website is sick. Like this is
that ring made it out of the trash.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
heard
did.
somebody put it
I
in
wonder
there.
how it got in there. I have
me on
no
the
idea.
big screen.
It wasn't me.
Put me on the big screen. Put me on the big screen. You got this. Look at it. I mean, look at this sick trophy.
Oh, that looks good though.
I mean, look at it. Can't even fit on the screen. Look at that.
That's
Oh
huge.
my god.
Now
Look
we
at
got
that.
Ray's name coming on there for
Yeah.
2021, huh? Very nice.
Look at that.
Good.
I
for
can't
him.
wait for the next season already.
Guys, this is awesome. So, yeah, if you guys want a trophy, just hit me up and then I'll give you guys a promo code. I can just say the promo code. It's Fantasy Couch. It's going to fall. I don't want it to fall. Promo code is Fantasy Couch. It's on Trophy Smack. And check out our sponsors, Monkey Knife Fight. Use promo code Couch on there. Promo code Fantasy Couch on Trophy Smack. Promo code Couch on Monkey Knife Fight. And we'll see you on the next one. We'll tweet it out when we're coming back on live.